Spivey, walking's a lot of fun after you learn how. Call this budget meeting for Ramseur Town Commissioners to order. At this time, we'll call on the town clerk.
Mayor and Commissioners. First, what you have before you tonight is a revised copy after last week's meeting. Last week's meeting, those copies, throw that away. They're no longer any good, nor in trash. So you don't come back 3 months from now and say, I gave you the wrong figures. And anyway, just throw them away. This, what you have before you tonight, is the correct figures. And I have on here in several different places that it was updated as per last week's budget meeting. The budget also includes the budget message and the budget ordinance, which is also in your packet tonight, and including a breakdown of the revenues and expenditures. If you don't mind, hold your comments until the end, and then we can discuss anything that you need to discuss. Okay, the budget message. The proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget for the town of Ramseur, North Carolina, has been prepared in accordance with North Carolina Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act and the NC General Statute 159-11, and is now submitted for your consideration. The budget identifies revenue and expenditure estimates for fiscal year 25-26 and attempts to maintain a continuum of quality services to the citizens of Ramseur. This budget is inclusive of all financial obligations, while all municipal services and positions remain funded. Revenues and projects conservatively, and expenditures are projected realistically. The budget projects revenue estimates, it just repeats it, but just so you get it good. The budget projects revenue estimates conservatively and expenses realistically, with the highlights of the proposed budget as follows. Last year, there was a substantial decrease in power bill, using only $69,838. Previous years required fund balance appropriations to balance the general fund and water and sewer. Last year and this budget, no fund balance has been used to balance either. It is important to stay within our revenues to prevent long-term fund balance usage. The total budget amount is about $188,801 more than the 24-25 budget. General fund revenues, tax rate. The proposed draft of the fiscal year 25-26 budget proposes no increase in property tax rate. It remains at 72 cents per 100 valuation. Randolph County estimates of real property and vehicle valuation for the town of Ramseur decreased to $170,561,981 from $172,564,30. 3 years ago, the valuation was $128,889,850. So you see, we're coming up each year. However, this year that did go down, and that is the 2,000 that we have heard talk about that is not missing money from the general fund. That is what we were looking at. That was the estimate of what the taxes that Randolph County is sending us This is money we have not got yet. It's money that'll be coming in over the next year. And the mayor will explain to you exactly that figure was correct. And he'll explain to you exactly how it showed our increase in taxes from last year. Additionally, it is estimated a decrease in sales and use tax to reflect current trends. General fund expenditures. Overall, to maximize fund balance uses, the general fund expenses are closely related to the previous fiscal year with the exclusion of major capital items. Administration and the Sheriff's Department will not incur additional expenses or capital purchases next year, as for one reason we now contract with the Sheriff's Department, Randolph County's Sheriff's Department. The Fire Department expects no major expenses outside of regular maintenance and repairs. There are no changes in the Street Department. Sanitation fees will remain at $18 monthly, even though Republic Services is going up on us this year. But we were told they were going up last year and they did not, so we increased last year. So we're not increasing this year, even though they are going up this year. The library will continue to contract with Randolph County for operations. In 25-26, the library remains essentially unchanged. The recreation fund will continue to be fully funded with no additional projects this year. Enterprise fund. The water and sewer fund is currently experiencing a loss of about 40% of the water that is produced, shown by a recent study, and I think that 40 is actually higher. A loss this high translates to a significant loss in operating revenues. Last year, the water sewer fund budgeted $1,523,401 to combat the increase in chemicals, operational expenses, and loss of revenue. Previously, the enterprise fund has reimbursed the general fund for eligible expenses. This year, water sewer is reimbursing $17,000 for 25-26. No fund balance proposed for 25-26 in the water sewer. Utility rates. Water and sewer has historically struggled with a loss in revenue. The budget is prepared with a rate increase of 3%, as we talked about last week. Town of Ramseur conducted a meter survey last year and is is replacing failing meters with AMI meters before full AMI installation. The infrastructure fees will remain the same, and funds collected at this time will only be spent on new AMI meters. Employees, the CPI is anticipated at 2.3 for 25, 2.4 for 26. To remain competitive, the budget is prepared with an average of 5.3 COLA for employees. The majority of employees are set at a 2% increase, with higher increases for some to bring them to a competitive market salary. No merit adjustments are proposed. Public hearing in accordance with North Carolina General Statutes 159-12B. There will be a public hearing on June 17th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. here at Town Hall. And we know where we're at. Any person wishing to make a comment may do so at that time. Okay, the budget ordinance. This is the actual legal document that makes our budget legal. This is the part that the LGC looks at most because, like I say, it is the legal document. Section 1, the following amounts are hereby appropriated in the general fund for the operation of town government and its activities for the fiscal year beginning July 1st and ending June 30th of next year. In accordance with the chart of accounts hereto established for this town, detailed list for each department is attached. Administration $478,976, Sheriff's Department $705,220, Fire $313,953, Street $349,339, Sanitation $168,26, Museum $13,050, Library $48,50, and Cemetery $20,50, making the total general fund 264. It is estimated that the following revenues will be available in the general fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 25 and ending in 26. I won't read all of them, it just breaks it down, the revenue a little further. But the total at the bottom, 264, matches the page I just read. Section 3, the following amounts are hereby appropriated in the water sewer fund for the operation of water sewer utilities for the fiscal year 25-26 in accordance with the chart of accounts here to approved for the town, detailed list attached. Operations, 1,567,433, debt 38,300, capital outlay 93,735, total water and sewer 1,699,468. It is estimated, section 4, it is estimated that the following revenues will be available in the water sewer fund for the fiscal year 25-26. Sales and service fees, 1,699,468. Fund balance 0, as we mentioned before. Revenue total, 1,699,468. Section 5, the following amounts are hereby appropriated in the Parks and Recreation Fund for the operation of Kermit G. Pell Recreation Facility and Leonard Park for the fiscal year 25-26 in accordance with the chart of accounts. Therefore approved for the town, detailed list of each expense attached. Recreation operations 61,167, capital outlay with 5,983, recreation total 67,150. Section 6, it is estimated that the following revenues will be available in the Parks and Recreation Fund for the beginning year 25-26. And then it lists that again, revenues, total revenues is 67,150. Section 7, the following amounts are hereby appropriated in the PAL bill for the operation of the PAL bill expenses for the fiscal year 25-26 in accordance with the chart of accounts. And the total there on the PAL bill is 65,700. It is estimated that the following revenues will be available in the PAL bill fund for the year 25-26. State revenue 65,500, interest on the account 200, PAL bill fund balance 0, revenue total 65,700. Section 3, there is hereby levied a tax rate at the rate of 72 cents per $100 valuation of property as listed for purposes of revenue listed in current year's property taxes in the general fund section 2 of this ordinance. This rate is based on the total valuation of the property for purposes of taxation 170,561,981 and an estimated rate of collection of 96%, amounting to 178,925 for 25-26. Section 10, there is hereby levied a tax at the rate of 3 cents per $100 valuation of property as listed for purposes of revenue listed current year property taxes in the Recreation Fund in Section 6 of this ordinance. This rate is based on a total valuation property for the purposes of taxation of 175,61981 and an estimated rate of 96%, amounting to 35,368 for the fiscal year 25-26. Section 11, the financial officer is hereby authorized to transfer appropriations as contained herein under the following conditions. A, transfer between line items expenditures within a department without limitation and without a report being required. These changes must not result in increases in recurring obligations such as salaries. B, transfers up to $1,000 between departments, including contingency appropriations within the same fund. The budget officer must make a report of this on such transfers at the next regular meeting of the governing board. All transfers between funds require prior approval by the governing board and an amendment to the budget ordinance. Copies of the budget ordinance shall be furnished to the clerk and finance officer and to the governing board to be kept on file by them for their discretion in the disbursement of funds. And then we go in where it's been revised, the recommended budget for revenue and the recommended budget for expenses. There's a couple of things I'd like to mention on the expenses. If you notice on the sheriff's department, the current year, the year that we're in right now, was budgeted for 7 months, not a whole year, only 7 months. So this budget this year is budgeted for 12 months. And so that's why it's higher than the other, because we got several more months on here than we did last year. So that explains that. This proposal here does include the proposed increases if the county approves. If not, will be that much to the better. Okay, on Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is the only account that is taken from your savings account again this year. The Lake Warden is doing a fantastic job, and as such, revenue is expected to increase. However, we still need to look at other fee income activities to increase visitors at the lake as well as income. The office ladies have suggested some great ideas that they have spoken to the mayor about, and those things can be discussed. Leonard Park has virtually no income, and we need to come up with a solution to help pay the electric bill at least in Leonard Park. So that's just some ideas for you to keep in mind on Parks and Rec. The very last page you have is the salaries as you talked about last week and what you wanted to increase. So that's what the very last is. Thank you so much, Mayor and Commissioners.
Thank you. While I got it on my mind, this money, the increase that we had, that we made last year of 5 cents from 67 to 72. If you'll take that paper that Carol had that shows the 2025 and the 24, 25, the 25, 26 and the 24, 25. And look at the work that she did there. If you take that $1,156,181.68 and subtract it from the 1,228,046.26, you'll come up with our tax increase. It amounts to $71,864.58.
Yep.
I had something else I was gonna mention. Well, that took all my brain power anyway.
Go forward and maybe you'll think of it. Was there any questions on the budget that y'all?
I wanted to ask you, we have to vote on that budget ordinance, don't we? Or
Not
do?
tonight.
Okay.
We have public hearings.
We do that at
next
the
board
public
meeting.
hearing.
And then after the public hearing about it, just saying it's been presented to the board already, then it comes down in regular meeting and you vote for it to accept or decline. But hopefully we can work out any problems right now and there won't be no declines.
Does this budget give anybody the heartburn?
Why was the power bill so much lower one year than it was the next?
Well,
Were we getting free electricity?
It's Powell.
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 Not Howell.
It's named after the the man that introduced it in the state legislator. And last year, we did a lot of street improvements and that kind of thing, so we dipped into what we had in the bank account for the Powell bill. This year, we're just talking about spending only what the state will send us this year.
And we spent some on the rail trail, didn't we?
Yes, the Powell bill can be spent for streets and the rail trail,
And
and some other items.
and these signs that we have to buy, it'll pay, the Powell bill funds will pay for the speed limit signs, the stop signs, the little signs underneath the stop sign says for always stop.
But not street signs.
They won't pay for the street names, but they'll pay for like no parking, that kind of stuff. Are we any closer to getting those ordered, Jason, or
I'm waiting on a price back from the company now.
did you call, who you talking to?
I can't remember the company. We got a book at town hall the other day. And they sell like clothes, everything. I called them, but I haven't heard anything back.
Let's talk to the state sign, the people at Carthage.
Okay. I'll call.
Appreciate it. Because I think I spoke about this one time before, since we talked about budget. I don't know where I ought to talk about this or not, but we talked about adopting the state littering law completely in its entirety. Did I give a copy of that to all the commissioners?
I haven't received
I
anything.
I don't remember.
I know
Okay.
you were talking about it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. I know I got a copy of it. I'll make each one of you a copy. I talked to the attorney about it, and he said we could do that. And it would make things a whole lot simpler.
What does that consist of?
It just consists of us adopting the state's ordinance.
I mean,
And the,
can you give us like a preview of what the state ordinance is? Yes.
that's what I'm gonna do. I got it printed somewhere, and I'll make a copy and give it to everybody. It's, their minimum fine, I think, is $1,000, and the maximum is, for a second offense, it can be $2,000. But it's virtually the same thing we have. It's just,
How to get monitored.
Sheriff's Department.
Oh, okay.
Anybody got anything about the budget?
Yes, the increases that we talked about for some of the employees, is that included in this budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Six quarters it.
Joy, did you have a question?
I don't, well, I do. I don't really question the raises. I do question why DJ is at 5%. I know that's what Jay requested, but with taking that in consideration, everybody else having an increase of that extra 1.25%, that's only a 26 cents on the dollar difference. Is there any reason, I guess, why we can't bring DJ up to 6.25%?
Well, on that note, in September will be his 1-year anniversary, so he'll accept
Yeah.
additional
He'll get it.
1.5%.
Yeah.
And take everything else in?
Yes, that'll be another 991.95.
Okay.
My calculations are correct, 44, 846, 67 will be his final salary after that. Just to get him in line for anything.
And a lot of that was taken into consideration by these guys. You know, if they take these tests and to better themselves and pass it, they get a 5% increase plus a $500.
They do.
That's what we,
Bonus, so
we do.
that's-
They do.
That'll make up a lot for this,
I think it's helped them stay here and not.
yeah.
That's the main goal. Because, you know, we're investing in, like the people. Thank you, Carol, for all that, because I know it's a lot. It's understandable.
I'm gonna tell you
Crazy
something.
for a while now.
I think Carol and Debbie done an exceptional job on this budget. I'm really proud of them.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I mean, considering, you know, in the past several years, we used the other people to kind of help you along, and you progressed to the point, you kind of nip that and not need it.
Yeah, we saved the town that much money this year.
Yeah.
And we just around the corner from having all of our audits completed.
Yes,
Mighty close.
which is the next thing on the list if you want to go forward.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll wait just a minute.
If nobody has any questions about the budget, we can go on, Carol.
Okay. I do have here the contract to audit the accounts from Mr. Garrett and the engagement letter from Mr. Garrett. I did not send y'all copies or give y'all copies because it's the exact same thing that you've got 2 times already this budget year. And so it's exactly the same. And the audit is in Mr. Garrett's hands right now. He has to get this to the LGC technically before they'll let him start working on it. He is scheduled to come to Town Hall, when was it? The 9th and 10th, to do the audit here, the part that he has to do here. And so we're right on getting it finished. So I'd like to have approval tonight, if I could, for the mayor to sign this and for us to pay the bill for it.
I'd entertain a motion that I get permission from the commissioners to sign the contract for the audit accounts for Mr. Curry.
I'll make a motion that we sign the contracts, allow you to sign the contracts for Mr. Carrot.
You're a second?
One second.
Any
Who was the second?
Joy.
any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, I have the invoice, we already approved for the work to be done for, the library, the air conditioning up there. I have the invoice now, $12,323. I know it seems redundant, but may I have approval to pay it?
I'll entertain a motion that we approve payment to Lamb.
I'll make a
motion for Carol to pay Lamb Heating and Air for the library's air unit.
Here a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I will make a note that there was no extra charge for the crane. So, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Also, Sandy said that he ran a duct to put air
Yeah.
in the office or something back there.
Yeah, they did
and
that.
didn't charge anything.
They already had, whoever put it in originally cut in a register, but they never ran the ductwork. So it was about 5 or 6 foot of ductwork they ran. They didn't charge extra for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane. I forgot about that. Jason?
All right, I got a quote for, two chemical pumps to use on our ferric sulfate, which is our coagulation chemical we use at the water plant. So the first chemical we use to treat the water coming out of the lake. Right now, we have one pump that is set up on that chemical. If that tubing busts in that chemical, it will mess up the whole basins. And it takes about 5 hours of wasting water back to the creek to get the plant back where we can produce water, if that happens. And it has happened before. This is a newer pump. You can actually, if you have two of the pumps, you can wire them together. That way, if one pump fails or a tube busts in it, it'll automatically sense it and transfer to the other pump on its own. So this will kind of be a fail-safe. When if one pump does mess up, while we repair it, we'll have another pump that'll automatically kick on and keep the plant running the way it should. For two pumps, it's $6,676.80. We have the money in the current budget to go ahead and get these. So I'm just looking for approval to go ahead and get those from the water plant.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve the purchase.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If no, when this pump's running and say the pipe bursts and it switches over to the other, is there an alarm? Is there,
So with these pumps, eventually down the road, my plan is we can wire them into our SCADA system. They're not currently.
Okay.
That is the plan, to put all of our pumps on the SCADA system. But every hour, so the state requires we run the lab every 4 hours. We run them every 2 hours. And then I tell them in their off hour, they need to make laps around the plant. And they do it more often than that. So it necessarily won't alarm, but when they make their rounds, they should see it. But right now, if the pump goes bad, they won't see it. You know, it might be 30 or 40 minutes before they see it. And by that time, you're already looking at, you know, it might be 60 or 70,000 gallons worth of untreated water that now we have to flush out of the basins before we can start producing water again. So this should cut that out.
okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jason. Anybody have anything else? So we got a public hearing for 17, right. Then after the public hearing,
Yes, and Kevin Franklin will be here, I should say. We have the public hearing on the budget, and then we have the public hearing on our donation to Randolph County Economic Development Corporation. And Kevin will be here for that part to explain what EDC has done for the county in the past year. And so then, when we get into regular meeting, we approve both of those. Because with that Economic Development Corporation, we're given a donation to a nonprofit. And that's why there has to be a public hearing. And Kevin usually, or somebody from his office comes and does a presentation. It's only a small amount, I think 1,200, but still, the law's the law.
anybody got anything else? Nothing else? I've entertained a motion that we adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I hear a second.
I'll second.